Did you think I would forget about a first-person shooter video game? Of course I would not. How could I? This is one of the coolest introduction themes and cinematic openings for a Metroid game. I love the beginning part the most, right up until the title for the game is displayed. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is a first-person shooter action-adventure video game developed by Retro Studios and was released in 2004. You play as Samus Aran, a top-notch galactic bounty hunter who is contracted by the Galactic Federation to investigate the planet Aether. Upon entering the planet's stratosphere, Samus's spaceship is struck by an abrupt lightning storm, causing her to land the ship prematurely. After embarking, Samus begins searching and surveying the planet. She discovers the entire planet is plagued by some dark presence that can manipulate both the living and the dead. To make matters even worse, Samus discovers a dark doppelganger of herself wandering the planet. From a simple investigation mission to a survival mission, Samus must find a way off this planet alive. For the sake of the video, I will be presenting the video game with the Metroid Prime Trilogy port of the video game. I feel that the motion controls and the video game for the Trilogy port performs better, and not only that, looks better. In 2002, I had to figure out what gift to get my older brother for Christmas. My older brother is one of the hardest family members to get a Christmas gift for every year. Why? He literally asks for nothing and does not say what he wants. Do you even know how hard it is to buy someone a birthday gift and a Christmas gift year after year when they don't ask for anything? I decided I would get him Metroid Prime for Christmas and pray that the gift was a success. To increase the gift size, I even got him the guidebook for the game. Back in the day, the internet did not house wikis, video streams in general, or online guides for games in 2002. Can you imagine reading a book to finish a game? Those were the days. I had no idea what Metroid Prime was, or even if the game was going to be a hit with my older brother. I was 9 years old. At that age, all I could think of was what I was going to get for Christmas gifts. And that is usually what kids do around Christmas. I was no different. Metroid Prime was a successful gift to my brother, as he liked the game. However, I have no recollection of him actually playing Metroid Prime. At least, while I was present in front of the gaming setup downstairs. Regardless, I was grateful that the gift was well received. So then 2004 rolls around, and yet again I am met with a similar fate of finding another Christmas gift for my older brother. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes just released, and that was going to be my gift. Again! I got the video game and the guidebook again. Another successful gift. My brother was happy to play the sequel to the popular Metroid Prime. Like before, I still have no recollection of him actually playing Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. All I know is that he liked both games. So then 2007 rolls around, and yet again I'm met with a similar fate of finding another Christmas gift for my older brother. The tradition continued with the final installment of the Metroid Prime series, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. I gifted him the video game and the guidebook like the others before. At this point, I made kind of a small tradition between my older brother and me with the Metroid Prime trilogy. Just like the others, he was happy with the gift, and I have still no recollection of him actually playing Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. In 2011, my older brother was in college, and I was just starting out my college years. There were some video games left behind at the time, and I thought I would try them out since no one was using them. I decided to try Metroid Prime since I had no idea what the game was about. Man, did I miss out on some of the best video game years. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is just creepy. If I were to be perfectly honest, this game is one of the very few first-party titles produced by Nintendo that exhibits horror. Aether, a planet that once inhabited a successful race of people known as the Luminoth, is now being twisted and turned inside out. 50 years ago, a comet smashed into the planet. Within that comet was a substance known as phazon, a radioactive mutagen. The phazon began splitting Aether into two different realms of existence, the original Aether and a darker, more sinister one. Both realms exhibit similar aspects of one another, but are two separate entities. Eventually, a dimensional rift was formed by the two realms, allowing trans-dimensional travel. The darker form of Aether then created a terrifying new species known as the Ing, a race of amorphous beings capable of taking control of both the living or dead and transforming them into more powerful beings. The Luminoth were succeeding in their war with the Ing for a while. Then, everything changed as the Ing began taking control of the Luminoth technology and using their power against them. Samus Aran is contracted by the Galactic Federation military to investigate Aether, as a platoon of Galactic Marines went missing some time ago around the planet. When Samus enters Aether, she is essentially trapped on the planet and has no way off. She finds herself in a similar situation to what happened to the Galactic Marine platoon and is now on a survival mission instead of a simple investigation. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is extremely unique compared to the entire Metroid franchise. The story is not about Metroids themselves, Aether's problems, or the Ing. The story is about Samus, and how she starts out as a survivor and becomes a warrior. Samus cannot leave the planet as she is trapped until she finds a way to repair her ship. Moreover, the entire planet of Aether is a giant problem she cannot overlook even if she wanted to as a bounty hunter. You really get to see Samus Aran in all of her much-needed spotlight as a protagonist in the Metroid franchise with this game. Additionally, the story introduces one of my favorite villains of all time, Dark Samus. Dark Samus is a mysterious and dangerous threat of existence, as she is capable of mirroring Samus's suit upgrades with her own unique style. Dark Samus is presented spectacularly within her debut video game. She imbues a sense of foreboding wickedness and power that rivals Samus herself in a sinister and seething sort of way. This video game has some of the best storytelling moments ever. Specifically, the animated scenes. Back in the early 1900s, animated films only had visual imagery displayed on a screen and music played on the side. There was no voice acting, use of text, or any such modern treatment of entertainment. The entire animation had to display scenes that could instigate a plot through sheer action alone. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes does have some text to help set the stage of the game's overall plot, but the video game is mostly told through just actions and music, especially when viewing the Galactic Federation Marines fighting for their lives or the encounters with Dark Samus. Each scene that plays out contains animation and music, along with some cinematic camera angles and sound effects. There is actually one other game that I can think of that does this spectacularly within Nintendo's roster of video games. If you can name it, congrats. If you cannot, I'll give you the answer shortly. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes was the video game that made me a huge fan for Samus Aran. She becomes a complete badass through her actions alone in this video game. Plus, Dark Samus also becomes a great villain that makes you feel the impending evil that lurks within that dark appearance. This story is a fantastic blend of animation and cinematography that is sorely lacking within today's entertainment. Nintendo really does care for their video games' musical scores. Although the Metroid series has been around for some time, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes has some of the best original soundtracks for the series. Nothing will ever beat the Nintendo Entertainment System or Super Nintendo Entertainment System Metroid games that started the franchise with the soundtracks. However, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes has music that stems for both cinematic themes and traditional exploration themes. This was a huge step up from even the first Metroid Prime game. In fact, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes feels like a fitting sequel succession from Metroid Prime with just the music alone. A great example of this is literally the cutscene of the Galactic Marines fighting the Horde of Aang. The soundtrack starts with a positive note and then becomes drastically different, forming a foreboding eeriness as the Marines are ripped to shreds instantly. Although the music for Metroid Prime 2 Echoes does have a way with notes, I ultimately love the overall theme and tone that is presented. Dark. This subtitle for the game is Echoes, which means the music houses both light and dark soundtracks. That is exactly what makes Metroid Prime 2 Echoes fantastic. All realms and levels within the game have a light and dark version of music. Essentially, you are getting one original score to listen to while exploring Aether, then a remix version while exploring Dark Aether. A couple of my favorite soundtracks are the Dark Samus theme, Torvus Bog, Chica Larva Boss theme, and the Submerged Temple theme. The Submerged Temple theme is, of course, a theme from Super Metroid, but the remix for this theme is still great. What I love most about this game is the gameplay. Your first encounter with Dark Samus leaves you mostly stripped of your equipment, opening the game for a more extensive exploration. You mostly play the game in the first-person aspect, using your arm cannon to blast targets near and far. But the most crucial gameplay element to all of the Metroid Prime titles is the scanning and research mechanic. This feature has been vastly improved from the first Metroid Prime. The entire mesh of scannable objects and items can be targeted anywhere and are presented in a more distinct color-coded representation. Anything blue is usually a living creature, some sort of structure or object, or an enemy. Scanning these types of things usually displays some type of text that gives subtle hints of what you can do to interact with them. One unique aspect of this gameplay feature is the key words that are used in the text to help you identify how to interact with an object or enemy entirely. Anything red is an object or structure that can be interacted with merely by scanning the object, or is critical to progress you further within the game, such as the temple keys to unlocking the boss areas. Last but not least is green, which symbolizes that the mesh has already been scanned, and if you need to reference the object or enemy again, you may do so. This gameplay feature is unique, gorgeous, and overall fun. The world within Metroid Prime 2 Echoes seems so much brighter with the ability to scan just about everything. You feel like an absolute scanning freak and some sort of super scientist by the end of the game. Moreover, the most important part of scanning is that you can learn some background information to help broaden the story further if you wish to do so. Obviously, the best part of all Metroid games is the suit upgrades. Samus has always been a unique and iconic character within the Nintendo company. She does not have items that she uses from some bag. Every item and ability is augmented directly into her suit. From cannon upgrades, visors, morph ball upgrades, and even her suit upgrades in general are directly implemented to just her suit of armor alone. One of my favorite aspects of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is the animations that were created when obtaining the suit upgrades. These are just clean and cool to watch. I feel that Metroid Prime 2 Echoes really showcases how stunning Samus can be within her suit of armor. All of the suit upgrades are used extensively throughout the game and are extremely fun to use. Especially the screw attack and morph ball. The morph ball has always been a cool characteristic of Samus' suit, but Metroid Prime 2 Echoes uses the morph ball proactively throughout your gameplay experience. While not every cannon beam has infinite ammo, like the rest of the Metroid franchise of games, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes was the first title to have finite ammo for your beams. This was not well received by some fans. However, I rather liked this sort of implemented cartridge system. Basically, you need to be careful with your ammo consumption and be attentive with your shots. Additionally, this feature shows that Samus is using foreign technology not exactly designed for her suit, which is another aspect of gameplay and story that blends well together. This game is not at all easy and will put you on edge. Some of the bosses in this game are just plain evil. I can name two that will set your hair on fire. The Boost Ball boss and the Spider Ball boss. Ironic how these bosses are both Morph Ball boss fights. Metroid Prime 2 is a challenge-inducing video game made with the intention of the simple game design element. Introduce, practice, and mastery. For those that are not privy to this type of waterfall structure, a player is introduced to a gameplay feature or mechanic. Then, they practice that mechanic with subsequent trials set up to have the player eventually master the technique entirely. Each boss fight in the game serves that purpose over and over. The first initial boss fight in the game introduces the player to the key concepts of gameplay. The next boss fight has the player practice what they have learned. Eventually, you will need to be a master of what you have learned to overcome the next challenge. Let me give you a short example. The first Dark Samus encounter introduces you to what Dark Samus can do. The second encounter with Dark Samus spices up the practice of your abilities for you to get ready for the final encounter, where you put the mastery of the entire game on your shoulders. Needless to say, the fun of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is the fact that you obtain mastery over every ability at your disposal and overcome the hardships that follow. This is similar to the other Metroid titles in the franchise, but this game goes above and beyond. You practically need to use every single ability in the game at some point again and again, like Echoes. The theme and overarching portrayal for Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is one of my favorites in video game history. Samus and Dark Samus, two identical beings that clash to overcome one another. The best parts of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is when you get the light suit upgrade, and when you face Dark Samus one last time. The light suit symbolizes the light side of the story, and matches Dark Samus's appearance as the dark side of the story. When you finally defeat Dark Samus at the end, the scene that plays out is just poetic and artistic. Dark Samus reaches her hand out towards Samus in the final moments, realizing something, as Samus just stands there, unwavered. Then, Dark Samus disappears again, leaving Samus to escape Dark Aether before the dimensional rift collapses. There are so many great and wonderful things about Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. The title alone represents the entire artistic element that makes the game a work of art. The antithesis of everything in this video game is, without a doubt, picturesque. How is this game placed 4th on my list of top video games of all time, you may wonder? Well, let's just say this was not originally a video game that was meant for me. I gave this game as a gift to my older brother and never realized how stupendous this video game was at the time. I now realize why my older brother liked playing these Metroid Prime titles. There's a certain amount of challenge and sense of discovery within each of them. My older brother has always been a fan of challenging and difficult video games for as long as I can remember. When I played Metroid Prime 2 Echoes and beat the game the very first time myself, I felt a little like Dark Samus reaching her hand out towards Samus, as if to represent my older brother and me. I realized that overcoming a challenge, and a difficult one at that, can be a rewarding factor to video games. Then came the next realization as I dissipated into nothingness. What am I going to get him for Christmas again this year?